Hey everybody, welcome to our second installment of Rapid Fire. Joe Albert is joining me now. Joe is the communications coordinator for the Minnesota DNR Division of Enforcement and formerly the editor of Minnesota Outdoor News. I worked with Joe here at Outdoor News for many years. It's fun to have you back with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Just like last time, we're going to rattle through a bunch of topics. Abigail Toupé is going to be reading the questions to us, so off we go.
You've seen the angry letters in Outdoor News about the statewide youth deer hunt. And as of Tuesday, the net increase in youth deer hunters from 2018 is 110 kids, or a statistically insignificant 0%. Was the statewide youth hunt worth the grumbling and angst from rank and file hunters?
So I looked at these numbers this past week, Joe. As of this past Tuesday, basically we've seen 0% increase. A few weeks ago it looked great. All those youth signed up for that early youth hunt. It was like 40% from a year ago. Basically what we've seen is, as we got to the regular season, it's kind of looking like all those kids would have hunted anyway.
Sure.
What's your take on it? Can you break from the DNR line, or what is the DNR line? What do you think?
Well, I mean, the DNR line, we offered the season, so looked at it as a good opportunity. I guess personally, I'm in favor of it. Mm-hmm. Would these kids have hunted opening day or during the week, or during the firearm season? Maybe, but maybe not. And so, yeah, I mean, I think we're at a point where any opportunities we can give kids are good opportunities. We heard from a ton of conservation officers who were out checking kids, and they just smiling from year to year. And you got good weather. You pretty much know you're going to have good weather that week, as opposed to what we dealt with during the firearm season. So yeah, I'm in favor of it.
It was absolutely, there was a lot of positive vibe about it. I'd agree with that. But there's certainly, we haven't had our letters to the editor section going nuts over an issue like this in quite a while.
Right.
It seems to be there's a lot of grumbling people, and I think it's a legitimate question to ask: was it worth all the sound and fury if all these kids were going to buy a license anyway? So that's that topic.
Since 2012, Minnesotans have been following the law enforcement work of Tony Leach. When is book 4 coming in this series?
Joe is an author.
I don't know. I hope soon, but I'm realizing more and more that I need to set deadlines for myself. Because every time I'm asked a question, hopefully soon, and I think I need to set a deadline and say, I hope to have it done by the end of 2022. I'm realizing as the kids are getting older that their sports, they stay up later, and as I'm getting older, it's harder and harder to then okay, if they go to bed at 9:30, well, now sweet, I've got 2.5 hours to write, and now it's already midnight, and that doesn't work. So
well, you've got a good excuse. You've got a full-time day job. You're a devoted family man. You're a great dad. So I guess I'll ask people to be patient, but the plan is to write more of these.
The plan is to write more, and yes, and I appreciate people asking me when the 4th one is coming out, because it means that they enjoyed the first 3.
Good enough.
State Senator Richard Cohen says he's retiring. Joe, you covered the legislature for years. Is this a blow for those who want to see dedicated legacy funds spent properly?
We talked about this a little bit on the radio show, Joe. Dick Cohen is retiring. This guy brought the arts into dedicated funding. Some people grumbled about that at the time, but as I said in my column this week, I don't think dedicated funding passes without it. This guy also has been looking out for the council the past 12 years, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Do I think that people are going to remember 30 years down the road that Dick Cohen was a major figure in this? Probably not, but people who are around and kind of remember how it all came about. Yeah, he was instrumental in bringing the arts on, which, if you recall back in 2007, 2006, there was a lot of angst about that. People didn't want that. We wanted this clean funding bill of just, kind of the conservation type stuff. Then we added the water, and then, the arts and the legacy. But yeah, I mean, I think in the end that was a good thing. And I think even more important was having him around to stand up on the Senate floor, remind people of the intent of this, why we're spending this money how we are, and kind of the intent of the Lessard Sam's Outdoor Heritage Council. And so yeah, I think it is going to be a blow. And like we talked about, when you get people that kind of forget what dedicated funding was all about, or didn't weren't around when it passed.
No, I think you covered that very well, Joe.
Thanks.
Best grunge band ever: Pearl Jam, or Nirvana?
I threw this in. Les Minister and I last time talked a little bit about music. I know where you fall on this, but I'm gonna say Nirvana. I think Nirvana had more memorable tunes than Pearl Jam, even though I would say Pearl Jam probably a much more musically adept group of musicians.
Certainly, yeah. I mean, and I would obviously say that Pearl Jam is far more important. They're longer lasting. Their music is simply better. But I can see that. But
both in the Hall of Fame.
Both in the Hall of Fame. But you got Pearl Jam has been around. I remember being like, whatever I was, 11, 12 years old, listening to my first Pearl Jam album. Now I'm 40 years old, still listening to them. They're still making good music. So.
How many times have you seen Pearl Jam?
I've seen 7 or 8.
Okay, nicely done. I do have to point out, Pearl Jam would not exist without my favorite band, REM. But anyway, we're going to move on.
Outdoor News printed a photo this week of a dumpster in Trout Valley Trail Day Use area. How does DNR enforcement handle these situations, and can many of these folks expect citations?
So Abby's posting that picture here. Ugly scene. It's a day use area where I guess people are camping. And I guess some folks mistook this dumpster for one of the dumpsters where they can put their carcasses. Not the case. It's my understanding the DNR's, they've got the waste hauler is going to take care of it. This is the sort of thing you see maybe too often on some campgrounds and day use areas, the enforcement?
Yeah, I mean, and I think kind of the carcass disposal in general is a kind of annual problem of people not, putting them where they're supposed to, at the landfill, with somebody's permission, things like that. We're putting them on the side of the road, or you see it in the dumpster here. So it's pretty clear in the regs book where you can put these carcasses. Are people going to get tickets? I don't know. I mean, it could certainly be, a case could be made for littering if you figure out exactly who did this, and but I think at the end of the day, it's important that people are putting their deer carcasses in the right places. Absolutely,
and let's not be slob hunters.
Right.
It's just a bad scene for hunting, and let's try to do better.
Yeah,
that's where I would leave that.
Joe's wife is a respected ad agency executive. Have you ever chatted with your wife about the South Dakota ad campaign to combat methamphetamine in the state? Meth, we're on it. Was a brilliant campaign in capturing publicity, or too clever by half?
I'm gonna let you go first, Joe. What'd you make of this?
So we've talked about it briefly, and as far as I'm concerned, if the people are talking about it, and in today's day and age, it's so hard to get your message out. There's so many competing messages. There's so just this and that, and so sometimes I think we take ourselves too seriously. They're not saying meth, we're on it.
That's kind of exactly what they're saying, but yeah, okay. those are the exact words, Joe. But
they are the exact words, but you need you got to be a little creative. I assume that you don't agree with me.
You know what? I think this was great for the ad agency, not so great for the state of South Dakota. I think maybe it's the same thing.
Right.
I've been struggling with this myself. I really don't think there's any way to spin this though. I think having people look at a camera and say, I'm on meth, is not a good thing. I just never is. No doubt it got a lot of publicity, but I suspect that a lot of South Dakotans aren't happy about this, and that this ad campaign is going to slowly just kind of
go away.
And I certainly don't think the next time I'm heading to South Dakota pheasant hunting, I'm going to see a big billboard that says meth, we're all on it here in South Dakota. I don't think that's going to happen.
But maybe all they needed was, this sort of infusion of energy and, of people talking about it.
Telling the nation that there's a big meth problem in South Dakota.
Well, you're looking at it too.
It's a really interesting question. I'd love to talk to your wife, Kim, about it, who is an ad executive, and get her take on it too. So anyway.
Joe, people might recognize you as the guy who fell through the ice repeatedly as part of a 2018 news report on ice safety. Have you fallen through the ice yet in 2019?
Luckily, I have not fallen through the ice in 2019. I had enough, last time around. As I was telling Rob, it was 9 times in a morning, and that's a lot of times to fall through.
Even and you were in a big dry suit,
yep.
And you were demonstrating how to get out. So let's be clear that this was a very controlled situation.
Very, very controlled.
But you were telling me off air here a little while ago, even under those circumstances, very frightening.
It is frightening. I mean, even though I knew I was going to fall through, You don't know the moment it's going to happen, and every single time the response is the same. It's like, I got to get out of here, and you kind of gasp right away. And so it kind of reinforced for me that I can't imagine somebody falling in without a life jacket and being able to sort of orient themselves and get through that situation without having something like a life jacket or ice picks to help them get out of it.
That's ultimately why we chose this topic to discuss here briefly. Is it's prime time to really be considering ice safety. We had a cold snap there. We started building some ice, getting some normal temperatures now. I don't think we're losing ice, but we're not building it as quickly as we were. People really got to be careful out there, and that's something your division is constantly reminding people this time of year.
Yeah, it is. And we at this point we're still saying stay off the ice, and people who go on the ice they put their lives in danger, and also you got people that have to come rescue them, and all of a sudden their lives are in danger. So it's a choice that people make, and we hope they don't go out on the ice, but if they do, please have the life jacket, the ice picks, go out with somebody else.
We will make that the final word. Joe, thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
This was fun to knock this out with you. We'll do it again next month. Thanks for tuning in. Thank you, Abigail DePay, who did a great job producing this, and we'll see you in a month.